Hello, internet friends! I'm swamped with day job stuff today, but I'm just so excited to share this shiny new Odin 2 with you. My fabulously generous sister gifted it to me, and I'm so happy to have a new toy to try. This isn't a real review, but sometimes you just have to get your thoughts down while things are fresh, and that's what I wanted to do. Because I'm short on time, I'm going to make this super quick and probably a tiny bit unpolished, so apologies for that in advance. But look! It's an Odin 2 and it's so beautiful. I've already changed the RGB lighting to pink, as you do. The very first thing I noticed about the Odin 2 when I picked it up and held it in my hands, which for some reason wasn't on my radar before, was that it's really slippery. Not as slippery as the Retroid Pocket 2S's plastic, because it's got a more matte finish, but still really slippery. Basically, it's comparable to the Switch Lite in terms of slipperiness, and I had to get a grip case for that so I'd be able to hold it without feeling nervous. I've got a feeling that'll be the case with the Odin 2 as well. I'm kinda sad that when I checked last night, the official TPU shell for the Odin 2 was out of stock. I did order a 3D printed grip case from Etsy though, so hopefully that will improve the hand feel of it all. But other than this one gripe, I'm really loving it so far. All these controls are super nice, especially the trigger buttons. They're so smooth and responsive. I like how the L1 and R1 shoulder buttons click too. A win. The joysticks are about the same size as the RP2S's. They feel almost exactly the same too. Very comfortable, but a little slippery. I'll have to put some thumb grips on these, but I don't mind that. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. The touchscreen is really responsive too, and I love this RGB lighting. I knew I would, and I was right. I had to turn them off last night while I was testing this out in the dark though, because even the lowest setting is pretty bright, and I had a partner conked out next to me. Oh, and looky at this cool thing. It's a fingerprint reader. So fancy. I can touch my finger to this, and it'll unlock the device for me, so it's convenient to keep my Odin 2 password protected, since I'll be linking some apps with passwords and data on here, like Dropbox. But before we get into what's in here, let's do a quick size comparison of this device to other devices I own. Here it is, compared against the Switch Lite. They're nearly the same size with my grip case on the Switch Lite, except the Odin 2 has slightly chunkier grips. I think if it were just a tiny bit grippier in material, the Odin 2 might be even comfier than the Switch Lite with its grip on, as it stands. The Switch Lite is probably my favorite of all my handhelds, with this cheap clear grip I got, because I have small hands. Speaking of small, here's the RP2S. It's dwarfed by the Odin 2, but I've got to admit, it still looks better than the Odin 2. I just love the DMG Game Boy aesthetic so much. I have a feeling it'll remain my favorite Android device, despite the better functionality and horsepower on the Odin 2. And here's the Odin 2 compared to the Nintendo Switch OLED. And the Steam Deck OLED. It's so small and lighter than both these devices, since I have a satisfied grip on my Switch. Alright, now that the comparisons are out of the way, I'm going to give you a quick tour. Here are some apps and some emulators and some Android games that I'm looking forward to playing on this thing. And here is Balatro, which Andrew from Retro Handhelds made a post about a couple days ago. You can download a patch program to convert your Windows Balatro install into an Android APK. So cool, so easy, and so dangerous. Now I can play Balatro on my Odin 2 and my RP2S. And guess what? It's also on Portmaster now. This spells doom for all of us who can't stop playing Balatro. I've made a quick 4-minute tutorial on how to convert your own Windows install of Balatro into an Android APK file. Check that out in the description below. Oh, and here's Emulation Station. I need to download a different theme and scrape all my box art and metadata, but it's looking really good so far. Look. Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle runs perfectly on here with my custom Ganbatte palette for this game, so I can have all the bricks be pink and the carrots be orange. Watch this space for my first tutorial video ever on how you can make your own custom palettes for the Ganbatte Game Boy Core. Like I said, I don't have much time today, and I want to get this out to you so you can all share in my delight at how nifty the Odin 2 is. I'll record some gameplay footage and do a more in-depth review some other time, once I've gotten more acquainted with this device. So please watch this space for that, too. You can achieve that quite easily by subscribing to my channel, or joining my Discord, or maybe just following my thread on the bigger Retro Handhelds Discord server. I'll put all those links down below too. Thank you so much for always watching, internet friends, and as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to everyone else, and happy gaming.